I did it! Hello and welcome to episode 89 of the Church of Spencetology podcast. My name is Spence, former co-host on the morning show on 98.5 KLUC. So it's important in saying former that we do one of these.
Unemployment watch! Unemployment watch! Unemployment watch!
As of this posting, 30 days unemployed. 30 days. So before we get on with the rest of the podcast, I'm looking for a job. I'm looking for, employment. I have to. Some people have said, "Oh, congratulations, you're retired." I ain't that old, God damn it. What's wrong with you? But I've had a couple of feelers. I'm in the mix for a couple of gigs, and it's just a matter of time. I don't know where I'll end up yet, but an announcement coming soon. But one place, they asked me to put out a resume. Now, understand, if you are going for the vice president of such and such at a major company, I get you need a resume. If you're looking for an office job down on the strip, I get how you need a resume. In radio, I suppose you need a resume as well. However, on my website, Spencetology.com, there is a ton of examples of what I do. So I don't fully understand why a resume is needed. The work is there. You can see podcasts, videos, bits, songs. You can see things that I write for ideas for shows. It's all there. So a resume is like, okay, what have you been doing with your career? Well, I've been at the same station for like 20 years. So what else would you like on the resume? So I may have screwed myself out of a job already because the guy asked for one. I'm like, I kind of hesitated, and I'm like, okay, if you want one, I'll send you a resume. I'm cool with that. But then I thought to myself, it's cool that he wants one. It's cool that the company requires one. That's part of business. I've been lucky enough to be in the same enterprise for some time, and I haven't needed one, but I get it. It's still a business. Yeah, but I think I screwed the pooch on this. I sent them a resume, and I refused to take it seriously because they are aware of what I'm capable of. They know where I've been, So I don't understand fully the need. So this is the summary from the Spence resume. I am a skilled professional radio entertainer. I read good and talk even gooder. My broadcasting journey has delivered me to some of our country's most scenic destinations, Bernie, Chico, and Yuba City, California, and Yakima, the Palm Springs of Washington. It's always been about creativity and content, man. Executing a memorable morning radio bit, singing a weekly parody song to the delight of listeners, writing a good spot, producing a kick-ass promo. I even did a video about a mini pony taking a shit that would decide the winner of the Super Bowl. It's what radio should be about. Not ponies taking a shit, but fun. Fun is what I'm trying to say. The actual fun, it says in parentheses, was forcing our producer to clean up said mini pony shit. And then it follows with, radio is all I've ever wanted to do. It's all I've ever done. It's in my blood, and it's incurable, which is all factual. Then it says skills and expertise. By the way, I took my wife's resume, she's very accomplished, and I just kind of grabbed stuff off it. So it says problem solving, change management, education and curriculum design. This is all on my resume, mind you. Strategy, development, execution, group facilitation, communication, empathy. Decision-making, interpersonal skills. I also threw in all those, I threw in talking, origami, singing, laughing, and Netflix and chill, mostly Netflix. So then it went through what I did at KLUC, and before that I worked at a station in Seattle. And I basically said, it's pretty much what I did at KLUC, see above. And then before that, it was way back when. I don't know what I did back at those places. So I wrote a series of not well-paid small market gigs, morning production station mascot. KXDD Yakima, did mornings. Also drove the sticker picker. It's a true thing. That was a promotion. We would give out KXWD stickers, and then we would drive around in like one of those samurais. What was that? Suzuki Samurai. And we'd try to find cars with stickers, and we'd give them cash. The sticker picker. Oldies 97 Yakima. Everything, and I mean everything. A buddy of mine bought a radio station and hired me. I used to dog sit for him. That's true. KTMX The Max, Calusa. Okay, but it was considered to be part of the Chico market, so shut up. I did nights, and I'm not going to lie, I had sex with several listeners. All true. I don't lie on my resume, friends. KUBAA Yuba City. I did mornings on the classic country flamethrower. You couldn't hear it down the block, by the way. I also created a high school football broadcast package. I did high school football play-by-play for some time. Yes, I did play-by-play. Dave Baer was my boss. He still works there. It's also a fact. And then KAVA Bernie, I did mornings and afternoons for $5 an hour. I would work 4 hours, take 4 off, and come back and do 4 more. That is absolutely true. There is nothing untrue in any of that in my resume. I do like the idea of this. When I mentioned KLUC, when I first moved here, I was in charge of making commercials. It's called a production director. I wrote... mastered out-of-date technology like the Odyssey, Audio Vault, and DAT tapes. Now, I don't expect you to know what any of that stuff is because it's out of date. So, yeah, Unemployment Watch, 1 month, 30 days. There's some stuff coming on. I don't know what's going to happen. But for the sake of this here podcast, episode 89 of the Church of Spencetology podcast, I am going to give you my infallible prediction of Super Bowl 54, Super Bowl LIV, and I will use factors that most prognosticators don't use, including mascot, cheerleaders, deviants, the rap game, famous foods, and landmarks. An example would be landmarks. San Francisco has the Golden Gate Bridge. Pretty good, yeah? Kansas City has the has the Liberty Memorial. I think it's probably wonderful. So who's going to win that one? We'll have to see. So we'll talk about that coming up in a second. Also, we are going to talk about coronavirus. Okay? Everybody calm down. All right? I'm not saying it's not serious. I'm not saying that sadly people have lost their lives. I get all of that. But stop it. We're going to talk more about the coronavirus in just a second. Also, the Church of Spencetology podcast is brought to you by Impeachment, the fragrance. But first, a mother and son bonding moment.
This suspect was a willing participant in that she knew that this armed robbery was going to happen. She served as a lookout, and she was there also as this minor effected their escape from the store. Had the store clerk decided to use some sort of force to defend themselves, this minor could have been injured or even killed. It was a terrible decision on her part.
Was it? Was it really? And you'll be shocked to know that this was in Florida, in possibly the most Florida place ever. It was a Circle K at the corner of Red Bug Lake Road and Tuscaloosa Road. Sounds like Florida to me. Where do you live on? I live on Red Bug Lake Road. I don't like any part of that. Sure, the lake maybe, but there's apparently a lot of red bugs, and I'm not buying a house on that road. So, Mom, as you heard from the Seminole County Sheriff's Office arrest report and the guy speaking, basically Mom said, "Hey, son, go commit an armed robbery. I'll keep lookout and be the drive away. I'll drive the car away for you." Apparently they've been busted, and here's the thing, before we get too judgmental on all of this, you know what? Don't judge as a parent. You're sitting in your house right now listening to this pathetic podcast. You don't even know where your kids are. You don't even know what they're doing, okay? Other parents, you're just like, oh, yeah, whatever. And they're upstairs on their iPad on the dark interwebs or something. At least this mom did activities. At least she went out with her kid and had an activity, right? Sure, they shouldn't do armed robbery, but at least it was something mother and son could do together, as opposed to you and your son living separate lives. Thank you. No? Okay. Coronavirus, calm down. We'll do that next. The Church of Spencetology podcast is brought to you by Impeachment, the fragrance. You smell that? It's in the air. Catch a whiff of the new fragrance sweeping America, made from the scent of corruption and the smell of desperation. It's impeachment.
It's impeachment. Try it out as Congress's new fragrance.
When it comes to cologne, some say it's
horrible, one of the worst ever.
Others maintain it captures the essence of a
pile of garbage.
It's impeachment.
Talking about impeachment.
Will it pass the smell test? Impeachment. The aroma of politics as usual and the odor of abuse of power. Either way, eventually, that stank's gonna end up on you.
It's impeachment.
Imported from the Ukraine. Impeachment, the new fragrance from House of Pelosi.
It stinks.
What's going on right now, man? You can't get it off your skin. You can't get it out of your nose, man. It's impeachment, the fragrance. Church of Spencetology podcast, episode 89. Let's talk coronavirus. I know it's serious. Worldwide, there are 8,000 reported cases. Now, 170 people have died. That's terrible. Cases in the United States, 5. Canada, 3. There's a few in Europe. Again, it's important to note it's going on. But will everybody calm down? Yesterday, was it last night or maybe today? Las Vegas locally, Twitter account. I love that Twitter account. But he had a source that said there was a coronavirus diagnosis at Southern Hills Hospital in Vegas. Now, that's my neck of the woods, man. It's not quite Summerlin. It's Summerlin adjacent. It's Summerlin and Russell, or it's Sunset and Russell. It's still pretty close. You know, hey, whoa. Okay. According to the Southern Nevada Health District, that's not true. There have been no cases of coronavirus in Clark County at this point. So part of the worst thing about social media is the alarmist attitude that happens. And, you know, to quote my least favorite president, the fake news. Oh, it's coronavirus. Can we all keep things in perspective, please? Please. While yes, you need to be sure that you washed your hands, you filthy friggin' animal. Use soap. If you don't feel well, if you have flu-like symptoms like a runny nose, headache, cough, sore throat, fever, don't go to work and infect your coworkers. It's pretty simple stuff, man. Don't do that stuff. But I have a friend who works at a local drugstore, and she has told me that they cannot keep the antiviral face masks in stock. If that makes you feel better, wear the face masks. I was lucky enough to go to Japan earlier in 2019, and a lot of people wear face masks. As I learned, it wasn't because they were worried about you stinky, filthy American who doesn't wash their hands. They were worried about the fact that they may give somebody else an illness. So if you had the cold or a flu, you'd put the mask on to prevent others. That's what they do. But if that makes you feel better and safer, even though there's not one coronavirus diagnosis in Clark County, knock yourself out. But this drugstore can't keep the face masks in stock. Additionally, this woman watched a person come in and put down $100 on little individual bottles of hand sanitizer. I'm of the belief that crap doesn't work to begin with. But if I'm going to scream and yell at you about washing your hands with soap, I can't very well be upset at you for, using hand sanitizer. But this woman was so panicked, she spent $100 on individual bottles of hand sanitizer. Now, they take care of 99.9% of germs and blah, 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 blah. I don't know, but my guess is it doesn't cover coronavirus. Okay, this thing is transmitted by filthy animals taking their unwashed hands and touching other people. Okay, or you touching a counter that has the virus on it, and then you put your hands in your mouth. I don't know anybody in this world that touches a dirty, unknown counter with their hands and then puts their hands in their mouth. You are sick. You, beyond being ill, don't do that. That's just absolutely nasty. So don't touch anybody if you're feeling sick. Wash your hands. It's transmitted through coughing, sneezing, close personal contact, like I mentioned, like shaking hands, all of that. Again, no cases in Clark County, 5 total in the U.S. Just to put it in perspective. And again, I'm not saying don't be cautious. I'm not saying it can't happen to you, but just to keep it in perspective so everybody calms down. In our country alone, 34,000 people die from gun violence. 36,000 die in the U.S. every year because of the flu. Okay? And if we really want to get into it, 1.25 million people die in road crashes, in car crashes. That's nearly 3,300 people a day die in car accidents. So, while the coronavirus is something to take serious, it is something you can battle with common sense. Wash your hands. And being that there aren't any cases in Clark County and only 5 in the U.S., just be smart. But please stop resorting to panic. Also, very funny, because I do love Las Vegas locally on Twitter. He did post a poll that read, bigger threat to Las Vegas tourism, coronavirus, or resort fees. Now, if you do follow him on Twitter, he doesn't like the resort fees. Quite honestly, and I don't know the guy, but I think he'd rather be infected with coronavirus than go to the MGM and pay $12. But the last poll, and there was nearly 2,000 people that had taken the poll at last check. Coronavirus, 16.9%. Resort fees, 83.1%. So calm down, be smart, you'll be fine. Coming up on the Church of Spencetology podcast, my infallible Super Bowl prediction. Using information like city nickname and statistics from Pornhub, I will determine who will win this Sunday's contest between the Kansas City Chiefs and the San Francisco 49ers. But first, a song of the week. It's in honor of those that suffer from male bathroom shaming. It's my song of the week here on the Church of Spencetology podcast. You're not more of a man because you choose to stand. Don't you dare look down on me, 'cause I sit when I pee. Sometimes I unzip my fly and I get a bit of stage fright. Urinals are not my cup of tea, so I sit when I pee. Some precious time alone, just me and my iPhone, away from my nagging family, and I sit when I pee. I'm the king of this throne, for hours on my own. I play games, surf the web, and tweet. Ah, shit, my legs just fell asleep. Ah, pins and needles, pins and needles. Ah. So mind your business, Paul. It's me time in this stall. Call me a chick, it doesn't bother me. Paul, we're a bit sexist, aren't we? You know, Paul, it's the 2020s and a man can pretty much do anything that a woman can. Paul, living my best life comfortably. When I sit, when I pee. I do. I freely admit it. And quite honestly, as far as you know, I'm sitting on the toilet right now doing this podcast. It's true. It's Church of Spencetology podcast. I am Spence, and I'm going to do my infallible Super Bowl prediction. Now, I don't use advanced analytics or red zone statistics or quarterback passer ratings. I don't know anything about that garbage. I know this. We have 2 cities, Kansas City and San Francisco. How do those 2 really match up? Who's better? That will determine who the Super Bowl winner will be. So things like mascot, cheerleaders, famous food, city nickname, and the perv factor. Statistics grabbed by Pornhub that will tell us which city will bring home the Vince Lombardi trophy. Okay? So it's pretty simple. To acknowledge that Kansas City wins a category, we will hear this. I realize that Kansas City or the Chiefs What's so funny is there's really, except for the arrowhead, there's only slight inferences to Native Americans, but we know what they're doing. But the mascot's not Native American. There's one of them is a horse. So again, this will signify a win for the Chiefs. As far as the 49ers, I dug this out.
The name's Yukon Cornelius, the greatest prospector in the North.
If you go back and watch those, they're so poorly done. They were done in like the 60s. But Yukon Cornelius is an amazing prospector. So if the Niners win the category, you will hear this.
Gold!
Okay, let's start out with mascots. The Chiefs have two mascots. They have Warpaint. It's a horse, okay? And they have Casey Wolf, which shockingly is a wolf. Casey has got 85-inch hips, according to the Chiefs website. He wears a Chiefs jersey, and then for whatever reason, Hawaiian patterned pants, and apparently is a character who has character. So they tout all the stuff. The guy who's in the suit apparently does a lot of motivational speaking gigs and no bullying campaigns, all the cool stuff that mascots should do, even though they don't talk. But the problem is he does Elvis routines. I don't know if you know this. Elvis has been dead for almost 50 years. Everybody move on. But Casey Wolf, okay, fine. Warpaint is more of the we're a football team named after Native Americans, but we don't want to get in trouble for stereotyping Native Americans. So they use, as I mentioned, arrowheads is a main theme. And then they have a horse, a pinto, a painted horse that is famous in Native American culture. And his name is Warpaint. Again, another reference, but not too much over the top. And so Warpaint comes out and does the deal. And you'd figure, okay, they'll put a Native American riding the horse, kind of like the Florida State Seminoles or something like that. Somebody with maybe just an ounce of Native American ancestry in their 23andMe. No, it's a blonde woman from Minnesota named Susie. It is. So it's the Chiefs. This beautiful, traditional Native American horse, a pinto, comes out, and it's ridden by a blonde woman, which I think speaks volume about the American treatment of Native Americans over the years. I think it does. So that's Kansas City. The 49ers have Sourdough Sam. San Francisco famous for sourdough bread. I'm a big fan of the sourdough bread. They call him the hardest working mascot in the NFL. I don't know how you quantify that, but okay, he's obviously a miner. He's got the pickaxe. He's got the old-timey hat, suspenders, and he's got a thick red beard. And of course, in his bio, he likes things like the TV show Golden Girls, and movies like GoldenEye and Goldmember. And I realize that's the marketing department's job, but in this category for mascots for the Super Bowl, I need less puns and more insinuated racism. So advantage Chiefs. Thank you, Susie and Warpaint. What's funny is apparently Susie does all of the horse noises. Next up, city nickname. Now, there's going to be some favoritism on my end because I'm a Northern California kid. I grew up in San Jose and then up in Gold Country in Grass Valley, California. And I've been to the city many times. So, it's a city by the bay. Kansas City, I had to do some research because I've never been to Kansas City. And I learned that it's known as the City of Fountains. Who knew? I figured it might be the city that spans two states or the City of Barbecue. That sounds awesome. Like you come to the city limits and there's the big Welcome to Kansas City sign and the Rotary logo and the Kiwanis logo. The City of Barbecue. Yeah! No, it's a City of Fountains. And I've known people that have been to Kansas City or that are from Kansas City. They go, oh my God, the barbecue's so great. They don't come back and go, oh, the barbecue is average. But oh my God, you must see the fountains. That just doesn't happen. And then on the other side, you got City by the Bay, which old-timey people, because that nickname has been around forever. There was no creativity back in the day. And I've said this before. For instance, I just imagine two guys, and they decided that they're sitting there and they're looking up at a star-filled sky, and they're like, "What do we call that?" And the other guy's like, I don't know. I don't know what to call all of that. I can't explain it. And the other guy says, well, there seems to be a lot of space up there. Yeah, there is a lot of space. Okay, let's call it space. That's you know what I mean? So City by the Bay. Hey, what do we call this place? Well, John, we got a city. You see the city there, the buildings, that's the city. And then it's on this water, which I believe is an isthmus if we're going to, go into it geographically. But City by the Isthmus just doesn't have the same ring to it. But the city is on the bay. Huh. Why don't we call it the City by the Bay? Pow! No, I think we should call it the City of Fountains. Advantage 49ers. Are you kidding me? This next category, I did some deep research into the websites of both teams to uncover who has the best cheerleader squad. Yes. It does shock me in 2020. And understand, I'm a man. I like women. I like women a lot. But why in pro sports do we still have cheerleaders? Honestly, dance team different. That's different. And college athletics, it's a sport. The things they do as far as throwing each other up in the air, the national champions, dance, hip-hop dance and cheerleaders and such, they're in Vegas at UNLV. So I get that. But in pro sports, I don't get it. Now, the 49ers cheerleaders are known as the Gold Rush. They got a cool nickname, the Gold Rush. And among their roster are Haley, Hannah, Haley, Amber, Ashley, Amanda I, and Amanda W. Okay? The Kansas City Chiefs cheerleaders, yeah, that's they have no nickname. I mean, Chiefettes. That just sounds dumb. Raiderettes works. Chiefettes? And I thought, well, maybe you could give them another name that rhymes with Chiefs, but that would be wholly inappropriate. And yeah, it's sexist. The Chiefs cheerleaders include Allison, and Allison. The third Allison is spelled with a Y. And then Kylie, Kaylee, Caitlin, Kelsey, and Krista. Each squad has a Caitlin, which is, by the way, the most cheerleader names of all cheerleaders. Hi, what's your name? Hi, my name's Caitlin. Don't tell me the answer. You're a cheerleader, aren't you? I am. How did you know? I'm also interested in 2020 that there aren't any plus-size cheerleaders. Why are there not any Lizzo-like cheerleaders? Now, the cheerleaders on both squads, the Gold Rush for the 49ers and the Chiefs cheerleaders, are of every race you can imagine. But there is a S-ton of blonde women, of blonde white women, which, they're all named Caitlin. Yay! So the other thing I found interesting, they have videos. The photo shoot bikini video kind of thing they do is cool. And during the Kansas City Chiefs one, they would show a girl and she's hot and she's in a bikini and it gives her name, Caitlin, and it says veteran. And I'm like, wow, this is really impressive. Caitlin served in the U.S. Armed Forces. Then I kept watching the video and then they would bring up, Allison with a Y, rookie. And that's when I realized, oh, Caitlin's not a veteran. She wasn't in the Army. She's just been on the Chiefs cheerleading squad for more than 1 year. I'm such an idiot. But I will say this. The photo shoot video of the Kansas City Chiefs cheerleaders in Hawaii in bikinis, advantage KC, and Caitlin's everywhere. Now we go from cheerleaders to famous food. Of course, Kansas City is known for its barbecue, its brisket, all of that stuff. Apparently, and I have not been to KC, but they're everywhere, barbecue joints, and apparently it's like some of the best in the world. People in Texas will disagree. People in St. Louis will disagree. I get it, but Kansas City is known for its barbecue. Fine. Love barbecue. Who doesn't love barbecue? Now, you and I are not going to see eye to eye on this. San Francisco there's a few things. Ghirardelli chocolates, phenomenal. They're known for their the Fisherman's Wharf and the seafood they get out of the isthmus. And what is it? Oysters or clams? Clams, oysters, something. Some of the seafood stuff I don't eat. But they're also known for sourdough bread. I don't pretend to know why it's sour, what they do to make sourdough bread. I know it's bread, and I love sourdough bread. I love sourdough bread ripped right out the loaf that I picked up at Smith's right next to the checkout because they know nobody can resist sourdough bread. I love it with butter. I love just putting a bunch of butter on it. I love it with spaghetti. I'm cool with a sourdough bread bowl where you dig out all the delicious sourdough from the middle and you fill it with like cream of potato soup. Oh my God, it's awesome. I love sourdough toast. When I go out, what kind of toast would you like? Wheat, white, sourdough, damn it. So, I know you're not going to agree with this, but I'll take sourdough bread over barbecue any day of the week. Advantage San Francisco. So we're knotted up at 2-2. This final category will determine who will win Super Bowl 54, Kansas City or San Francisco. And it's what I call the perv factor. It's all about the deviance of each city. Now, some of these categories, I got to look towards the state, California versus Missouri. Interestingly enough, Pornhub puts out an annual study of who and what and where and why people go to their site, and it's really fascinating. Did you know that Pornhub does take a 27% hit typically every year during the Super Bowl? Because for a lot of Americans, watching Tom Brady is kind of like porn, and they're watching the game. So 42 billion visits to Pornhub during the year. California and Missouri are kind of in the middle. Missouri, like number 22, California's like 24. So there's not any real difference to who's visiting Pornhub the most in Kansas City and San Francisco. I will say this. One category they had was what females in individual states search for. California, it's Japanese. So if you're a woman and you're looking on Pornhub, you're looking for Japanese porn for whatever reason. That's what it says mostly. So Kansas City is in Missouri. The Chiefs play in Missouri, but Kansas City, Kansas, you get the whole idea. So I kind of looked at both. Kansas, women more often search for feet on Pornhub. Okay, I like cute feet. Sure. Alarmingly, in Missouri, do you know what women there look for the most? If you have kids listening right now, turn it off. I'm not going to... Fisting. Are you real? You bunch of freaks in Missouri? You freaks! So then I looked at apparently the number of adult marital aids purchased. California's number 10. Missouri doesn't really make the list. Well, I mean, hearing what the category before was, why would they need the toys? And then I looked at like the number of strip clubs. Like Kansas City has the Shady Lady and Bazooka Showgirls and Legs Party Bar. About 20, strip clubs that I could find in the Kansas City area. San Francisco's not much different. And San Francisco, I believe, well, city limits may be about the same size. But places like the Kitty Pad and the Power Exchange and Blow Buddies, Wicked Princesses and Club Vixen. So not any different. Now, here's something you have to keep in mind. Did you know San Francisco used to be the porn capital of the world? And I'm not kidding. It started the porn craze and filming the videos wasn't San Fernando Valley in LA. It was San Francisco, and it started in 1969. That's not a joke. It just did. It's true. 1969. People would stand in line for these films at adult video theaters. There's a place called Mitchell Brothers O'Farrell Theater. It was like world famous. It was San Francisco used to be the porn capital of the entire world back in the day. So at the edges to the Niners right now. And then this. Kink University. I don't know if it's accredited. I don't know about their bachelor's or master's programs. It's, I guess, an educational arm of kink.com. They basically looked into BDSM, fetish, and polyamorous communities. The total size of the kink-identified population, the size of the population, the number of resources for those that are kinky, and adult entertainment purchases. And they ranked cities. Number 1, I didn't know this, Portland, Oregon. Now, Portland has the most strip clubs per capita in the world. But Portland, Oregon, apparently, according to Kink University, the kinkiest city in the country. So if you're a freak, move to Portland. Like 4% of people identify themselves as kinky in Portland. Number 2, and it's close, San Francisco, California. That means by a score of 3-2 in my infallible Super Bowl prediction, the San Francisco 49ers will win Super Bowl 54.
The name's Yukon Cornelius, the greatest prospector in the North.
That's right, baby.
Oh!
And since we just talked about kink, give him one of these. This has been the Church of Spencetology podcast. My name is Spence, and you can check out whatever I'm doing on social media. It's all at Spencetology, Spencetology. And I post podcasts and songs and bits and videos all at Spencetology.com. Once again, Spencetology. Thank you so much for listening. This has been the Church of Spencetology podcast. Have a great day.